Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff. We'd like to take a moment to thank Drew Call and the good folks over at Call Office Solutions for the support of Crimson Tide Kickoff. You've seen me and Gary and our guests sitting at this great set this afternoon. It has served us well this season. We've enjoyed sitting at it. It also served as a great set for our recent Homecoming Parade broadcast back in October. So remember to call Office Solutions for all your business and office needs. Now here's Gary.
Thank you, John. Our next guest, as I talked about before the break, has done it all, literally, from playing professional baseball, working in a major league front office, serving as an NBA executive for a world championship team in Philadelphia, and for the last 20-plus years has been involved with the Orlando Magic. He's also a motivational speaker and has written books too numerous to mention. But we're going to focus on his newest literary piece of work, and that is Bear Bryant on leadership. Pat Williams, welcome in.
Great to see you, Gary. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you. Okay, the obvious question is, how does a man that's been involved in the NBA for the last 30-plus years, well, 40, actually going back to the Atlanta Hawks, get involved, first of all, with Alabama football, start following the career of Bear Bryant, and wind up co-authoring a book with Tommy Ford that tells all these incredible stories about Bear Bryant. While not a great orator in front of people, his one-on-one leadership skills are truly priceless.
No question. Long story short, Gary, a fellow named John Merrill brought me in here 7 years ago to speak in late August of '03, and I got so caught up with Coach Bryant, who I never met, did not know, but when you are sleeping in a hotel next to the Bryant Museum on Bryant Drive, down from Bryant Stadium, near Bryant Hall, around the corner from the Bryant Bank, you begin to think, I mean, this man hasn't gone anywhere. And then as I began to run into Alabama players, you know, here and there, I would ask him about him. Just an intriguing man. And then when the Sporting News named him the third greatest coach of all time in American sports history, I thought, man, there's got to be something really deep to this great coach. So a young publisher in South Carolina said, let's talk about some leadership books. I speak on leadership, I write about it, and this idea of Bear Bryant on leadership seemed to make sense. The key was Tommy Ford, you know, who knows everybody in the Alabama family. He got me in touch with every player that we could track down, from Joe Namath to Kenny Stabler to Leroy Jordan to Dwight Stevenson to Johnny Musso, on and on and on. It was fascinating. And the end result is this look at Coach Bryant as a leader, and I think we can all learn from him. No matter what our field, we can take away so much and improve our leadership skills through Coach Bryant.
Pat, I told Tommy this a couple weeks ago when he was on. There have been so many books about Coach Bryant. So many people have been interviewed. But this book, you talked to so many different people, and you really found some stories that were new and unique in regards to leadership that I had never seen or read anywhere else.
Well, Gary, I just really honed in with one question. I just asked them, what made Coach Bryant a good leader? That was the question. And I'm not sure all of them had been, they've all been asked about him over the years, and books have been written. But that single question may have unlocked some material that had been sitting there dormant. That's the only thing I can come up with. But they all wanted to talk about that. The immediate reaction is, oh my, where do we start? What made him a leader? How much time do you have? I mean, I got answers like that. I said, well, just talk to me. What made him a good leader? And then you begin to hear planning and preparation. Right. He was a teacher. He cared about us as people. He was getting us ready for life after football. He outworked everybody. These are the things I began to hear. They talked about his communication skills, coming into a room and everything just shut down. And then that low rumbling voice, you know, which forced them all to listen. They said, you better, being early was late. You know, because once that door closed, you know, and you wanted to come into the meeting, you were in deep. You'd had it. So they all showed up early. If he said 1:30 meeting, and maybe at 1:27 he'd say, let's get this started a little bit early. You know, so he taught them punctuality, and above all, he was a competitor and had an intense desire to win, and so I think they came away with some lessons that have stuck with them deep into their lives. I really got that sense.
And something else, folks, I read it in one night. Once you start reading it, you'll go ahead and knock it out. It's an easy read. It's a good read. I encourage you to pick one up. Final 30 seconds. I want to get off subject because I should have asked you this when I interviewed you a few years ago. The 80s in the NBA were dominated by the Lakers and Celtics. But that 83 76ers team for that 1 year, Moses Malone, Mo Cheeks, Dr. J, was dominant. You were part of it, so I know you're a little biased. Was that the best team for 1 year in the 1980s in the NBA.
Oh, I think so. And you can argue it was one of the 4 or 5 best teams for 1 year,
right,
maybe in the history of the NBA. Moses was at his peak. He came as a free agent, and he was absolutely at his peak. Julius Erving, that was probably the last vintage year for Dr. J.
Right.
Cheeks and Tony were among the best guard lines the league ever saw. And in that period, you know, you could argue there was nothing quite like them. And then to have Bobby Jones flying off your bench is one of the best 6 men in the history of the game. Pretty unique group. Billy Cunningham was our coach, and I think for that 1 year, they came totally focused. We never had any injuries.
Right.
They were absolutely locked in the whole year. There were no sinking spells.
Right.
And I just think it was one of those special years.
It was a great team. Thank you so much, Pat.
Great to see you, Gary.
Bear Bryant on leadership. Pick it up in bookstores everywhere here in the state of Alabama. John?
All right, Gary, thank you very much. No game Saturday, so what's a player to do? Maybe lay around, play video games? Not for quarterback Greg McElroy. The Bama quarterback has his final interview for a possible Rhodes Scholarship this Saturday. We'll hear from him next. This weekend, Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy will find out if he is, in fact, a Rhodes Scholar. The final interviews will take place on Saturday in Birmingham. The Bama QB is one of 18 candidates vying for only 2 spots. So what's his game plan?
Hopefully my resume, you know, has obviously given me the opportunity to go. Now if I can just be able to impress them just a little bit with my interviewing ability and just my knowledge and appreciation for the Rhodes Scholarship, I think hopefully that will be very, very helpful in my application process.
And coming up next, it's time for our guest prognosticator. He'll make his picks for tonight's game, plus the weekend's SEC action. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Crimson Tide Kickoff. We are almost an hour and a half till kickoff time. Georgia State coming to town, and it's great football weather. It feels like football weather with cooler temperatures around. And let's show you that kickoff forecast. 6:30 kickoff time, 52 degrees. Bundle up. It will get cold towards the end of the game, ending up in the upper 40s by the time we wrap things up. John and Gary, back to you guys.
All right, Richard, thank you very much. Ever since our guest picker, he played football at the University of Alabama from 1991 to 1995. After that, he worked in compliance at UA from until 2000. Ever since then, he's been at Tuscaloosa Christian, serving in the most recent post as head football coach. And this season, the Warriors won the CFA title, defeating Victory Christian of Columbus, Mississippi in a nail-biter, 24-20. With that, we say hello to Hunter Christian of Tuscaloosa Christian, and let's get right into it. We're running a little over on time. We'll start you off with Ole Miss and LSU.
Ole Miss, I believe that Ole Miss has been hit and miss all season, and since they missed last week, I think they're going to hit this week. I think LSU, Les Miles used all 9 of his lives.
Wow!
So I'm going to pick Ole Miss.
Shocker!
Wow!
All right. Well, if you hit that one, we'll give you some props. Arkansas and Mississippi State, interesting game. 2 pretty good teams.
Arkansas very impressive when we played. Alabama played them. Their quarterback really impressed me, and I think they're gonna pull it out this weekend.
Pearl State rivalry, Tennessee and Vanderbilt this weekend, 6:30 in Nashville on Saturday.
Vanderbilt's season has been a rough one for them, and I believe that Coach Dooley at Tennessee is trying his best to pull things together there. And I don't think I ever thought I would say this, but I'm going to pick Tennessee to take that one. So.
And we know you're going to go out on a limb and pick the shocker, Georgia State.
If Alabama was to play Green Bay Packers, I would pick Alabama. But this weekend, Alabama 52-7.
I like the chances.
Right.
Thank you, Hunter.
Sure. Thank you.
And thank you for watching Crimson Tide Kickoff, a special Thursday edition. Next Friday, Iron Bowl will be back with you at 8 a.m., so be sure to join us for that. For Hunter Christian, Gary Harris, I'm John Huddleston. Thanks for watching. Have a great game day, everybody.
Enjoy the game, everybody.